but probably for people like you, Steve, it maybe decrease the value if it has been traded times and times before.
Yes, I would prefer to have something direct. And typically it also means if you bought it 4 times over, you bought it, while the market was maturing during that asset, and you're not going to see the returns if it's from an investment standpoint.
Yeah.
Case for pushing the envelope with technology, it's a different mindset when I'm buying an NFT opposed to a physical. The physical are things that are no one at that time collected things, which makes them rare because no one knew to keep them in good shape. So only the ones that survived, being mishandled like everything else, those are the only ones that still exist. Where NFTs are different. If you have 100 NFTs, unless someone burns those or sends them to a wallet and someone passes away or loses that key, those assets are always there. You can see who owns them. You can see how many there are. So it is different in the fact that it's all transparent. But the old things, it's just, I guess at best, and that's why this space is so significant, because there's no more guessing involved. It's all truth and accuracy, which is really needed.
Do you find the emotional connection the same in the NFT space?
I would say I find it harder to sell a one-of-one NFT than to sell something that I know I might have a one-of-one physical. An NFT, I'm more attached to a digital thing than I am a physical
crazy
thing. Yes.
That is super interesting. I know that's, like I kind of got into NFT collectibles just purely for investing. But then I remember selling a ferocious piece, and when I sold it, I immediately felt so shit and regretted it. And it was that moment that reminded that I realized how strong and how powerful this space is, and that you can be attached to a digital collectible, an NFT, right?
Because there personally, like during you finding ferocious so early, and I know how that could be. Like, man, I was there, like kind of a part of that beginning, and then to sell one of them pieces, I was like,
Well, the first one, I had 3 NFTs. The first one I sold for $45,000. I was like, sussing out the market. Okay, that was my decision. But the second one I had listed for like 2 weeks, and I forgot to delist it. And it sold, and I woke up to it sell, which is still about $100,000. But yeah, it was still a regret. Like as soon as I woke up that day.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I get crazy lowball offers in my inbox like every day. It's like you see something like, oh.
This day was crazy. Yeah.
Totally. So Leelin, you've been involved very, very early. I think 3 years in the NFT space, working for multiple projects like Decentraland, even My Crypto Heroes as well, and all that sort of stuff, right? So where do you see, because NFTs are so much, when you got involved, did you find that your environment of you getting involved was a lot to do with the collectability factor or utility, or how was that environment around you?
Yeah, to be honest, NFT, when we first, started exploring back in 2017, it was all very nascent, and it started with, the real estates in Decentraland, and it was very controversial. Like, why would people want to buy, virtual lands, and what's the value, and what is NFT? So a lot of education started since 2017, and if you remember the Nifty conference held in Hong Kong by Decentraland, that was very much a big shout to the public that NFT would potentially have a very bright future. So fast forward to this year or last year, we really witnessed that, and I personally realized that there are indeed a lot of potentials. There are just getting more and more use cases when it comes to like art, music, entertainment, especially art. I'm personally, I paint myself, and my sister is an artist. We've been very much involved in the art scene, and then we know how a lot of artists have little or no avenues to share their arts, and then often they have to go to the intermediary for exhibitions like art galleries and some middle person. With a lot of platforms today, NFT minting, it just became so easy, and it empowers a lot of artists. And art forgery itself is also an issue that I think NFT could solve. Like, you don't necessarily just have to hold a digital asset. Like you could still hold the traditional painting, physical painting, but then how do you say, that is the original or the genuine one? That could probably be solved by holding an NFT of that physical painting as well. So yeah, there are just, many use cases. It's just popping up. I think, it's no longer, it's getting very evident that, there are just many problems we could solve with non-fungible tokens.
Mm-hmm.
The
NFT industry started with collectibles, right? Actually, if I think about it, it was CryptoKitties or CryptoPunks.
CryptoKitties, Decentraland, right. Yeah,
Were
yeah.
you guys involved in that?
Yes, we were. And then we actually worked with CryptoKitties as well, with the picture frames, if you remember. Yeah, my
I
Crypto
don't.
Hero.
I wasn't involved back then.
Yeah, it was quite fun. Like we were like, exploring. Like actually, we could actually display picture frames in the virtual world. And who are these guys that we could actually invite? CryptoKitties being one of them. Back then, we couldn't even imagine like having the 3D kitties in Decentraland yet. So we thought, okay, 2D will be good enough. Yeah, and so we started with the picture frames, and then they were tokenized into NFTs. My Crypto Heroes were also one of the pioneers, and then also blockchain cuties, Axie Affinity, and a few others. Yeah.
Shout out to them. Ethereum as well. Ethereum
Yes,
was
Ethereum
around at the very early start. Yeah, that's actually the first. I think that was the first NFT I bought. I remember buying an Ethereum that came with an egg, and the egg hatched, and I doubled my money, and I was like, "This is a very weird way to make money."
Things to get started with, man.
Yeah, the early days was all about like finding these. I think we were all in exploration mode. I'm not sure how long it took you guys to see the future vision. For me, it was just like an immediate realization that I can buy and sell digital assets. Like for me, this was eBay or Gumtree, which is popular in my area. But without the issue of going and checking out things in the physical,
At the really beginning, at that time when we started, at the early days of 2018, it was more some sort of eBay and of some sort of Far West as well. I mean, there was no real official marketplace, so we needed to find someone that we trust to, just give the asset, and someone just gave the cash, and so on. And we're like, okay, we just cross fingers and expect to have the asset at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how many people are watching this that were involved in the very, very early days, but 3 years ago, Decentraland and many other marketplaces, they didn't have a website that you could trade things as easily as you can now. You think gas was an issue now? Like back then, we didn't even have a marketplace and online UI, so people were manually sending, as Zoop said, sending. I remember doing this so clearly. This is my first year or so in Decentraland, my first 6 months, but sending like money across to someone and praying, crossing my fingers, all of them, that he would send the NFT or the land back to me. And surprisingly, in like, 100 OTC deals or as many as I've done, which is so many, I never got scammed once. I know others did, but weirdly enough, I didn't get scammed. And I thought it made me realize that, decentralization and everything on smart contract is very important, but surprisingly, like a lot of people can be trusted. But don't do that.
Yeah,
do OTC
that's why I think the NFT community was way different than the general crypto community, where they could easily be really anonymous, and that could be in their advantage. But you had to be at least synonymous here. Like you have to at least kind of live up to your